Hey everyone, it's Keighley here with my layout for UK Scrap Addicts. This month's theme is mixed media. I did kind of like, mixed media, it is definitely not my strong point at all. So far what I've done is I've cut out a cut file by Paige Evans on my silhouette. I think you can actually get this cut file for free on Paige's Facebook group, but I bought this one from the silhouette store. And what I've done so far, this is a technique that Emma from Mind the Scrap actually showed us quite a few months ago, and it's the dry brush technique using some acrylic paint. So the cut file is actually still on my cutting mat, and I've got a dry paintbrush and brushed it along with the paint. Some areas have got more of the black paint than others, which I quite like, that the whole brush stroke effect. I think it looks quite effective. And now I'm just sprinkling over some watered down white acrylic paint and creating lots of little painty splatters to make it kind of look like a night sky. Whilst that's drying, I decided to back my photo. The kit that I'm actually using for this layout is the June Mind the Scrap kit. And my inspiration actually was this absolutely stunning moon paper, which I think I do show you the actual paper further along. This is just a small part of it that I'd cut off when cutting my papers down to A4 size. Distressing the edges of the papers. I really like this look at the minute, and I seem to be doing it on all my papers at the moment when I'm making layouts. And the photo I'm scrapping is one of my son TJ and our dog Spud. These two have grown up together. TJ was 4 months old when we got Spud, and they're like best friends, like brothers. And Spud, to me, I could have given birth to this dog. I love him that much. He's really part of our family. This photo was actually taken a little while ago, I think back in 2016. They're both 7 now, nearly 8. So yeah, they've really grown up together. I took some time and I peeled off the cut file from my cutting mat. It was quite tricky to do. It kind of like fused itself back together, the paper, so it did take some time, but it did all come off without any tearing. And now I'm going back to my background, and I've decided just to add some black paint splatters using watered down acrylic paint. Because I don't do mixed media often, I didn't really count in drying time between doing the different stages, so it's a bit all over the place, this layout. But now with the power of editing, I have come back. My paper is dry, and I'm cutting off some of the edges to back it with this gorgeous moon paper that I've just been waving around. So that's all done now. I've backed the layout. I'm now starting to stick down and commit to my photo placement and where the cut file's going to go. I'm really pleased actually with how the cut file has turned out, and I definitely will be painting cut files more in the future. I really like this dry brush effect, and I'd say of all the mixed media I've kind of watched over the time, I've never really been happy with how it looks, but this technique that Emma showed us, I really like the effect of. I'd love to. I don't really have much mixed media stuff because I don't really like how it turns out. I've not really committed to buying some of the more expensive brands and the expensive inks and things. I'm not wasting the paper from the cut file. I've decided to use some of the painty bits and punch out some little stars just to add to the background, so it's kind of more mixed media being added to my layout. I'd definitely say my mixed media is definitely a neat version of mixed media. By adding it to a cut file and punching out shapes, it kind of takes away a lot of the messy aspect of mixed media, which I think is definitely more for me, because I don't really like creating lots of messy mixed media, even though it looks absolutely stunning when others do it. Like Sarah's layouts are amazing, as are Amy's as well. They're really good at mixed media, and I'm sure they'll teach you something a lot better than I have. But like I said, I'm quite happy with how this has turned out, and I think it is something that I will try again in the future. Now I'm just placing the stars around. I'm trying to keep like the darker ones near the darker bit where I painted, some of the lighter ones in the lighter areas where there isn't as much paint on the cut file. And then there's not really much else that I do to embellish, really, because I think the cut file and these little stars do quite enough for me. I've not needed to add a title because the title's already in the cut file. But I do have a flick through some of the embellishments that we got in the Mind the Scrap kit, which was absolutely stunning this month. Well, every month it's stunning. I'm always raving about my Mind the Scrap kits. I love how Emma puts them together. Now these are amazing. They're so different, and I've never seen these around before. I think they're from Heidi Swap. I can't remember the collection. It's a new one. I think it's something to do with wolves, Wolfgang or something like that. I could be way off. But you get a rub-on and some circles and squares, and basically you can pick which sticker you want to use and which rub-on, so you can make them coordinate with your layout a bit more, and a quote that'll fit your layout a bit more. I've gone for this quote. I think it says "reach for the moon," and I thought it was quite fitting with what my layout has got on it. And the background on the sticker is actually very similar to my cut file. It matches the moon paper that I've put behind my layout as well. So it's it fits really well. I do put some foam on the back of that, just to raise it up a little bit and make it pop, and it actually fits perfectly in that little corner in the curve of like Spud's head. So it was meant to be. It was definitely meant to be. Now we do get some sequins in this month's kit, and they're stunning. They're blue, gold, and then there's some like iridescent ones. It's a lovely mix, and I do try and scatter a few around the page, which I think I'll do a bit later on actually, and I'm messing around with some of the wood veneer right now. But like I said, I do try them, but I feel they're a little bit big for this layout, just because I've put those little stars on, and I think it took away from those little stars. I do try one of these hearts, but they're so chunky. They're absolutely gorgeous, but they're so chunky. But looking back now, that actually would have worked perfectly fine. I do go for this little wood veneer heart, and I think I bring in some of the little enamel hearts that we got in the kit as well. But yeah, I think this is where I come to trying out the sequins, but you'll see for yourself soon, they just look too big, but the colour would have been perfect for this page, because they were a lovely dark blue colour. So yeah, I decided not to go with those and save them for a different layout. But I am pulling in these enamel hearts, and I had a little white one just to the side of the wooden one, and that's more or less the layout finished. I do glue down the wood veneer, and now there'll be some close-ups coming up. Thank you everyone for watching. and I hope you're really enjoying this month's theme and joining with us on the UK Scrap Addicts Facebook group. Bye!